Butter, sugar and gold medal flour are all you need for this quick and easy sugar cookie recipe. The best part? It's a make-ahead and make-it-your-own recipe. Four-wheeled Fantasies, a new electric riff on the BMW Isetta and Volkswagen's plans to bring back its famed and funky Microbus as an electric vehicle in 2022 have us wondering what other quirky vehicles from the past are overdue for a revival. After you mix up the dough, shape it into a log and chill before cutting the cookie dough into slices for baki. From sleek and futuristic sports cars to wild and wacky concepts, we look to vehicles that featured forward-thinking designs and features that would work well today, though maybe with some modern upgrades. Packard 900, founded by brothers James and William Packard in 1899, Packard was one of America's preeminent luxury car manufacturers for the early part of the 20th century. More plus ingredient steps: hide images 1 in large bowl, beat softened butter and granulated sugar with spoon until well mixed. Stir in flour until moistened, using hands to mix if needed. Dough will be crumbly. Rivaling overseas competitors such as Roll-Royce and Bentley, Packards were beloved for their elegantly large bodies, smooth engines and handling, high-quality craftsmanship, and a revolutionary, twin-6, V12 engine. And while the popularity of Packard survived the Depression and both World Wars, the final model rolled off the line in 1956 following dwindling sales. Knead 5 to 10 times or until dough is smooth. 2. Divide dough in half. Shape each half into a log, 5 inches long by 2 inches in diameter. 3. Spread 2 tablespoons of the nonpareils or decorating sugar on plastic wrap. Roll 1 log in nonpareils to cover. A return of these stylish and powerful luxury cars is long overdue, even if they might be out of most price ranges, and would offer stiff competition to high-end overseas vehicles. DeLorean DC-12, most famously known as the time-traveling car of the Back to the Future movies, the DeLorean DC-12 suffered a short, doomed life. It was created by maverick GM exec John Z. DeLorean, who ventured out on his own in 1973 to make a sports car that also happened to be safe and long-lasting. Repeat to cover remaining cookie log in nonpareils. After a series of design challenges, the first DeLorean DMC was finally produced in January 1981, built in Northern Ireland with signature spaceship-like geometry and gull-wing doors. Wrap dough logs tightly with plastic wrap. But despite grand ambitions, 4 DeLoreans were plated with 24-karat gold for an American Express promotion. The company ultimately ran into financial trouble and the plant shuttered in October 1982. Refrigerate about 1 hour 30 minutes or until firm. 4. Heat oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Unwrap one of the dough logs, cut into 1/2 inch slices. And while there are plans to revive the storied car, it seems it will only be a limited production run with each vehicle going for around $100,000. Volkswagen Thing, modeled after the Kübelwagen, a German military vehicle, the hilariously named Volkswagen Thing is a clunky yet fun vehicle that deserves a revisit. On ungreased cookie sheet, place slices 2 inches apart, reshaping if necessary. 6. To make powdered sugar icing drizzle. In small bowl, mix powdered sugar and 2 teaspoons of the milk until well blended. If too thick to drizzle, add additional milk, 1/4 teaspoon at a time. Tint with food color. Drizzle over tops of cooled cookies. Sprinkle with nonpareils or decorating sugar. A civilian version of the 4-door convertible was released in the U.S. Let stand about 1 hour or until drizzle is set. Expert tips: store cookies covered in airtight container. Store cookies with drizzle on top in a covered airtight container with waxed paper between layers. Have fun and get creative with these cookies. In 1973 for a couple short years and has since become an elusive legend. Get 2 different looks with the same recipe. Roll 1 cookie dough log in 2 tablespoons holiday-colored nonpareils, and wrap in plastic. The boxy thing was not particularly safe. The doors were thin, and the only support pillar was a windshield that folded down, and was quite slow, with a 46 horsepower engine in the trunk. Leave the other cookie dough log plain, and decorate with a colorful icing drizzle after cookies are baked. For best results, bake cookies on middle oven rack, 1 sheet at a time. Shiny aluminum cookie sheets with a smooth surface and no sides reflect heat and allow cookies to bake evenly and brown properly, so save your rimmed ones for sheet pan dinner recipes. But they're fun to drive and look cool. Allow cookie sheet to cool completely between batches. Otherwise, cookies will spread too much. Cookie dough logs can be wrapped and refrigerated up to 48 hours before baking. Plus, with nearly a foot of ground clearance and handling designed for uneven terrain, they make great beach cars.
There's even been talk that Volkswagen might bring them back as an electric vehicle. Bricklin SV1 fans of the DeLorean will likely appreciate the appeal of the Bricklin, another short-lived, gull-winged sports car designed with safety in mind. Built in Canada for sale in the U.S., the Bricklin SV1 lasted only from 1974 to 1975, when less than 3,000 were made. To freeze, place wrapped cookie dough logs in freezer until firm. The brainchild of Malcolm Bricklin, an American millionaire who famously founded Subaru of America, the car proved too costly to produce thanks to safety features such as an integrated roll cage and shock-absorbing bumpers. Once dough is firm, make sure ends of plastic are twisted, and place logs in large resealable freezer bag. In addition to the identifying gull wings also designed for safety, the Bricklin was famous for its bold color-impregnated acrylic paint job that allowed scratches to be buffed out easily. Freeze up to 1 month. Flashy colors, futuristic design, and safety features, what's not to love? Stout Scarab unveiled in 1936, the Stout Scarab was way ahead of its time, thought to be an early proto-minivan. To thaw, let dough stand 30 to 45 minutes at room temperature or until easy to cut into slices. Remove plastic, slice, and continue as directed in recipe. This style of slice and bake cookie is a great time saver for the holidays. It's easy to make the dough ahead and then slice off cookies. No shaping of individual cookies or rolling out dough is required. Developed by aviation engineer William Bushnell Stout, considered an Elon Musk of the day who made major modern innovations in flight, the Scarab featured the aerodynamic and bulbous shape of an airplane and resembled its Beetle namesake, the Scarab. Fenderless and sleek, the V8-powered Scarab featured a spacious interior with movable seats and a fold-out table. More expensive than most luxury cars of its day, the Scarab failed to take off, less than 10 were custom-built. But in the era of Uber and driverless cars, the Scarab would make for a slick way to travel in groups. BMW Isetta. The super-tiny BMW Isetta was regarded as one of the best microcars of its time when it debuted in the mid-1950s, and would be right at home with the popularity of space-saving and fuel-efficient Mini Coopers and Fiats of today. Egg-shaped with bubble-like windows, the Isetta was first developed by Italian company called ISO that made scooters and refrigerators, which would help explain the fact that the Isetta ran on a motorcycle engine and that the single door opened the car's entire front end like a refrigerator. While ISO licensed the design to multiple manufacturers, BMW really ran with it, and popularity soared thanks to German laws at the time that allowed people to drive these types of inexpensive cars with only a motorcycle license. Adorable looking, fuel-efficient and city-friendly, it's no wonder a Swiss company is reviving the concept. Look for it as the Microlino in 2021, but now they're electric. AMC Pacer likely to split audiences. The AMC Pacer won high praise from critics and the public when it debuted in 1975 as bold and futuristic, but has since been derided as one of the ugliest cars of all time. Nicknamed the Moon Buggy, the small and squat Pacer was 2 feet wider than it was tall and featured a distinctive wraparound 3-piece rear window that made it look like a spaceship. You'll recognize it as Garth's car in Wayne's World. The design made the interior feel roomy yet with the handling of a small car, but the switch to a more fuel-efficient motor made the car heavy and slow. Rather than ditch an innovative approach entirely, the AMC Pacer could be revived with a light, powerful engine, making it a fun, retro-futuristic city car. Dodge Diora. A radical custom concept pickup truck, the futuristic-looking Dodge Diora dazzled car enthusiasts when it debuted in 1967. And while only one was ever made, we'd love to see it return. Created by legendary hot rodders Mike and Larry Alexander with the help of former GM designer Harry Bentley Bradley, the Diora used the foundation of a Dodge A100 and was retooled to feature a front hatch repurposed from the rear of a station wagon that would lift up. It also had a complicated horizontal strut in front that rotated to let the driver and passenger in and out of a well-appointed, stylish interior, along with other design innovations. It lacked space in the pickup bed, though, as that's where the motor was placed. And while the lack of any front-end protection wouldn't pass today's safety standards, with a smaller electric engine placed in back it would sure make for a fun cruise, perhaps on the moon. De Tomaso Pantera. Fans of the exotic good looks of Italian cars such as Ferrari and Maserati, especially combined with the power of a Ford V8 engine at about half the price, will likely want to see the return of the De Tomaso Pantera. Less than 8,000 of the relatively affordable high-performance supercars were built from 1971 to 1992, and as sleek and powerful as they were, they ultimately proved too troublesome and costly to continue production. Plus, one was famously shot by Elvis when the king couldn't get it to start after a fight with his girlfriend. And while it may be impractical for toting the family around, it would certainly be a blast to cruise around in, while costing less than pricier overseas sports cars. Norman Timms Special. Another wildly styled concept car, the Norman Timms Special turned heads when it appeared in 1947. Designed by Indy 500 racing engineer Norman Timms, the super sleek car features an elegantly curved front end and a gracefully long, sloping tail that seems to go on forever. Timms used a powerful Buick Straight 8 engine to power the sleek roadster, with a two-seat, front-mounted cockpit that had no door or roof and a chopped windshield. The car proved too expensive to produce, and while it would likely still be pretty impractical by most standards these days, who could resist driving around in such a work of art? Remarkably, it was found rusting away in the desert and was beautifully restored, then was destroyed in a California wildfire in 2018. Pontiac GTO. Widely considered to be the vehicle that kicked off the era of the muscle car when it debuted in 1964, the Pontiac GTO is a brash and zippy classic that deserves a comeback. Dubbed the Great One, the iconic Pontiac remained a hit through several incarnations until it ultimately fell out of favor and production ended in 1974. The car was revived from 2004 to 2006, but the legend didn't quite hold the luster. We'd love to see a return to the stylish good looks and performance of the earlier years with modern upgrades inside. Jensen Interceptor. Built by British manufacturer Jensen Motors, no relation to this author, the Jensen Interceptor was a stylish and sporty car that would likely find new fans today. While Jensen made a different version of the Interceptor in the 1950s that was classy in its own way, the most popular Interceptor reigned from 1966 to 1976. Featuring the luxurious leather interior of a British Grand Touring vehicle, the sleek fastback styling of an Italian sports car, and the powerful muscle of a Chrysler V8, the Interceptor was a favorite of many, yet has largely been forgotten in the pantheon of classic cars. It was revived by dedicated investors in the 1980s and early 1990s. Enthusiasts and small manufacturers still offer rebuilds. It's time for a grand return of the icon.